For most of human history, a crowd meant survival. We are wired to believe that there is safety in numbers, that being surrounded by other people is the ultimate protection against danger. That assumption shattered on a quiet street in Queens, New York, at 3:20 in the morning in 1964. A young woman named Kitty Genovese was walking home from work when a man followed and attacked her. She screamed for help. Lights flicked on in the apartment windows above. 38 people looked out from their homes to see what was happening. For 35 minutes, she fought for her life in the street below, while her neighbors stood by their windows and watched. And yet, not a single person came down to the street. Not one person picked up the phone to call the police. The public was quick to label those 38 neighbors as monsters, but psychologists John Darley and Bib Latane saw something else. They saw a terrifying flaw in human hardware. In moments of crisis, a crowd does not create safety. It creates silence. There are two powerful psychological forces that activate the second we step into a group. The first is diffusion of responsibility. When you are entirely alone and someone gets hurt, the entire weight of that emergency falls on you. You either act or you walk away. But when you are surrounded by other people, that burden quietly divides itself among everyone present. Your personal share of the responsibility shrinks. Darley and Latane tested this by placing volunteers in isolated cubicles. The participants were told they would be having a group conversation over an intercom. Shortly after it started, an actor on the line began faking a severe medical seizure. This chart shows exactly how people reacted. When participants believed they were the only person on the intercom line, 85% sprinted out to get help within 2 minutes. But when they believed 5 other people were listening, the intervention rate collapses to 31. People will literally sit coughing in a burning room, ignoring their own panic simply because the person next to them looks relaxed. Decades later, historians realized that the original New York Times report on Kitty Genovese was distorted. The number of witnesses was exaggerated, and some neighbors actually did try to call the police. The journalistic narrative was flawed, but the psychological mechanism it exposed is very real. The decades of data remain untouched. Under the right conditions, our brains are hardwired to freeze, watch, and wait. The bystander effect doesn't require a life-or-death crisis to take hold. It shapes the way we behave every single day in our offices, our families, and our digital lives. Consider a workplace where unethical practices continue out in the open. It survives because the responsibility diffuses across the entire staff. Every employee assumes that leadership, HR, or a senior manager will eventually step in and fix it. Pluralistic ignorance scales up even faster online. A toxic comment section can host thousands of silent readers watching someone get harassed. Because nobody else is stepping in, the entire group concludes that the behavior must be acceptable. The internet multiplies this apathy. As the scale of the network grows from dozens of people to millions, the feeling of individual accountability mathematically approaches zero. But because this is a mechanical reflex rooted in human psychology, we can deliberately hack it. You can systematically override the social freeze. Step 1 is to break the anonymity of the crowd by being specific. If someone needs medical attention, do not yell out for help. Point directly at one person, make eye contact, and say, "You, in the red jacket, call an ambulance right now." You force responsibility onto them. Step 2 is to be the first. The social freeze only lasts until one single person breaks it. The moment you take a single definitive action toward helping, you immediately give the rest of the crowd psychological permission to follow. Third, name the emergency out loud. Saying "this looks serious" destroys the illusion of collective calm. Finally, practice helping in low-stakes situations. Pick up the dropped papers. Speak up in the minor meeting. You have to build the habit when it's easy, so the reflex is there when it's hard. Knowing that this dark shadow exists inside us is the only way to step out of it. The crowd will always tell you to wait. Defy the crowd, and be the one who stops.